We will not be answering any questions, but we will provide additional information when it becomes available. Jeremy Wade is a name most people associate with rivers, remote adventures, and some of the world's most elusive freshwater creatures. But what if the world-famous angler's curiosity didn't stop at the riverbank? Reports have emerged suggesting that something unusual was discovered at a property linked to him in Texas. And in today's video, we're diving into what was found, why it matters, and why the FBI reportedly got involved. The man behind the rivers. Jeremy Wade is a British biologist, television presenter, writer, and extreme angler, whose name has become almost synonymous with the mysteries of fresh water. Born on March 23, 1956, in Ipswich, England, he grew up near the River Stour in Suffolk. That river setting shaped his earliest memories of fishing and gave him the curiosity that later defined his life. As a young man, he developed an interest not only in catching fish, but in learning what made them unique, where they lived, how they survived, and why some of them inspired fear and myth. Education was central to his path. He studied zoology at the University of Bristol, and later earned a postgraduate teaching certificate in biological sciences at the University of Bristol. He was also a member of the Royal Society of Kent. The blend of science and education would prove essential, because Jeremy's career would revolve around both research and communicating discoveries to a wide audience. His journey into the public eye was anything but ordinary. Jeremy began as a school teacher, but his passion for fishing pushed him into uncharted waters. In 1982, he took his first overseas fishing trip to India, where he caught a Himalayan mahseer, a large and powerful freshwater fish. That moment is often described in interviews as a turning point, convincing him that exploration could be more than a hobby. Over the next decades, he ventured into remote rivers across South America, Africa, and Asia, searching for species that were little studied or surrounded by folklore. He risked disease, dangerous currents, and even violence in unstable regions, but the pursuit of knowledge kept him going. He wrote about these adventures in magazines and later in books, using his first-hand accounts to document ecosystems that few outsiders had seen. Television transformed his work into a global phenomenon. His series River Monsters, which premiered in 2009, placed him in situations that many viewers considered unthinkable, wading into the Amazon after stories of giant catfish dragging people underwater, or investigating rivers in Africa where locals spoke of terrifying predators. Jeremy balanced the drama of the search with scientific analysis, examining whether the legends were grounded in fact. He was not simply an angler showing off big catches. Instead, he was part detective, part naturalist, and part storyteller. The series ran for 9 seasons, reaching millions of viewers in more than 100 countries, and it remains one of the most successful wildlife programs ever produced. His later shows, including Mighty Rivers and Dark Waters, built on that success by broadening the scope. Rather than focusing solely on mysterious fish, he began investigating the health of some of the world's most important waterways. These projects highlighted pollution, overfishing, and the impact of human activity, all while maintaining the sense of mystery and adventure that kept audiences watching. Jeremy's books, such as River Monsters and How to Think Like a Fish, extended his reach beyond television. In them, he explained not only his adventures, but also his philosophy, patience, observation, and respect for the natural world. Among scientists and conservationists, Jeremy is regarded as someone who bridges the gap between the academic and the popular. He communicates complex ecological realities in ways that everyday viewers can understand, while still respecting scientific accuracy. Within the fishing community, he is admired as an angler who emphasizes responsibility, catch and release methods, and education. Among fans of adventure television, he has become a recognizable figure, often remembered for his calm voice, understated humor, and willingness to dive into danger without sensationalism. His reputation has not been without whispers of exaggeration, as some critics argue that television can dramatize stories beyond what science alone supports. Still, insiders in the production world have pointed out that Jeremy insists on evidence wherever possible and is directly involved in the research behind each episode. His credibility, built over decades of first-hand experience, is what separates him from countless other personalities who have appeared briefly and disappeared. So, what could have been found in his holiday home? The elusive and holiday home claims in Richardson, Texas setting. For years, scattered claims have circulated about Jeremy Wade keeping a holiday retreat in Texas, specifically along West Beltline Road in Richardson. Yet when those claims are held up against the available facts, the picture does not align. Property records in Dallas County, which cover Richardson, are accessible through public registries, and no deed or tax record lists his name. His official website makes no mention of a residence outside the United Kingdom. And in multiple interviews, Jeremy has spoken openly about his long stretches of travel and his base in England, but never about a Texas property. Insiders who have worked in television production sometimes whisper about celebrities acquiring unlisted retreats in the United States for privacy. But with Jeremy, there is no documented proof. In other words, the story of a holiday home in Richardson belongs more to rumor than to verifiable fact, though that has not stopped it from circulating. The appeal of such a rumor makes sense when considering the nature of Richardson itself. Sitting just north of Dallas, the city has grown into a thriving suburb known for its strong schools, safe neighborhoods, and business presence, particularly in the technology sector. About 120,000 people live within its borders, creating a blend of professionals, families, and longtime residents. The median household income is near the six-figure range, and the area's cost of living remains more affordable than many coastal cities. This combination has long made Richardson attractive both for locals and for outsiders looking to establish a comfortable base in North Texas. West Beltline Road, the stretch of roadway often named in these rumors, is a major artery running through the city. While not a highway, it carries steady traffic throughout the day and connects neighborhoods to schools, shopping centers, and commuter routes toward Dallas. The homes along this corridor are generally single-story brick houses, many built during the post-war boom, with lots averaging less than a quarter of an acre. For someone searching for suburban quiet while still having access to Dallas within 20 minutes, the area offers an appealing balance. It is the type of place where a well-known figure could live quietly, blending in with everyday suburban life. That very ordinariness fuels speculation. A famous individual could indeed hide in plain sight without drawing attention. Texas itself adds to the mystique because of how its property and privacy laws work. The state is known for valuing individual rights, and property ownership is well documented. But that documentation does not always extend beyond listing deeds under holding companies or trusts. In cases where a celebrity wishes to avoid attention, it is not unusual for real estate purchases to be made through limited liability companies. This legal reality means that even a careful check of records does not always resolve questions about who truly owns a home. Insiders who deal in real estate in Dallas note that rumors about celebrity homes surface often, and without documentation, they remain exactly that. Still, Richardson's character makes it easy to understand why Jeremy might hypothetically have chosen such a place if he had been looking for an American retreat. The city combines a suburban calm with proximity to both rural landscapes and urban amenities. Its location in North Texas also places it within reach of a wide range of freshwater ecosystems, from reservoirs and creeks to the broader Trinity River system. While there is no evidence tying Jeremy directly to those waters in terms of research, the suggestion that a freshwater explorer might want to anchor himself near such habitats resonates with fans who are familiar with his work. Ultimately, what is verifiable is this: there is no credible proof that Jeremy has ever owned property on West Beltline Road in Richardson or anywhere in Texas. What persists is the idea of such a home, supported by insiders who suggest that certain details may be intentionally shielded for privacy. In Texas, where privacy is strongly protected and property ownership can be legally layered through corporate structures, such possibilities remain open-ended. Yet, until documentation or public acknowledgement appears, the claim belongs more to speculation than to the record. The rumor continues not because of evidence, but because Richardson itself provides the kind of setting where such a story feels believable. Jeremy Wade's career has unfolded in the spotlight for more than a decade, thanks to television shows that have reached millions of households. His public profile extends well beyond the small screen. Through programs like River Monsters, Mighty Rivers, and Dark Waters, Jeremy has been seen by audiences in over 100 countries, cementing his reputation as one of the most recognizable figures in modern natural history programming. Add to that a steady stream of interviews, appearances at wildlife conferences, published books such as River Monsters and How to Think Like a Fish, and an active social media presence where fans engage directly with him, and it becomes clear why his name has lingered in public conversation. Jeremy's voice, calm and precise, has become part of his brand. He presents himself as a steady guide through situations that would make most people hesitate, and that combination of personality and danger has carried his reputation. His life in the field has produced more than just dramatic television. Over the years, Jeremy has endured situations that underline the risk behind the adventures. He has spoken openly about contracting malaria while working in tropical regions, and about accidents that could have ended much worse, such as being involved in a small plane crash during one of his expeditions. These incidents have often been referenced in interviews as proof that his career is more than staged drama. It is rooted in genuine exposure to danger. That credibility of being a man who has lived through real threats while documenting the natural world feeds into why his work resonates so strongly with audiences. It also explains why whispers of mystery or secrecy surrounding him, whether about personal finances or rumored properties, gain traction. When someone spends so much time in remote and inaccessible places, gaps in the public record naturally invite speculation. Financially, Jeremy has built a career on relatively transparent income streams. His television contracts provided him with earnings that reflect both the popularity of his shows and their syndication to global audiences. In addition, his books have sold consistently, adding royalties to his income, and he has supplemented this with public lectures, media appearances, and collaborations with conservation organizations. Importantly, there are no public records tying Jeremy to unexplained financial activity or to any legal disputes over money in the United States. His name does not appear in connection with American tax cases, lawsuits, or other forms of financial controversy. While insiders sometimes note that television presenters can accumulate income through multiple channels that are not fully visible to fans, such as consulting or behind-the-scenes production work, there is nothing linking Jeremy to financial irregularities. His reputation in this sense has remained steady, that of someone who makes a living through media and education rather than through hidden or questionable means. That absence of scandal has not stopped speculation. Fan forums and entertainment blogs have, over the years, floated ideas about him maintaining properties abroad, including whispers of a retreat in the United States. Such discussions are rarely based on hard evidence, rather than referencing supposed sightings or hearsay from locals. Tabloid-style coverage sometimes frames him as a mysterious figure, And in that context, attaching his name to homes in places like Texas or Florida becomes a kind of storytelling shorthand. The adventurer who spends his downtime hidden away in an unexpected suburban setting. Yet these claims, when compared with public property registries, interviews, or credible reports, remain unsupported. The contradiction between speculation and verifiable fact is what keeps the story alive. Stories feed on absence, not presence, and Jeremy's private life has left just enough absence for outsiders to fill with their own versions. At the center of all this is Jeremy's own approach to information. Throughout his career, he has insisted on evidence, whether he is testing the truth of a river legend or speaking about ecological issues. His television investigations are structured around myth, whispers, and then proof. Locals tell him a story, he explores it, and he presents a conclusion rooted in biology and ecology. Fans and colleagues alike point out that this insistence on proof has built a foundation of trust. He is not a man who claims without verification. He is a man who tests, waits, and then presents what he can substantiate. That philosophy has given him a rare place in the media, bridging the gap between entertainment and science. It is this blend of trustworthiness, visibility, and mystery that sets the stage for why any story involving Jeremy sparks attention. He is a figure who has consistently lived on the boundary between myth and fact. His life has shown that he will risk everything to find the truth in dangerous rivers. Yet his personal life remains guarded, with only fragments available for public record. That tension fuels speculation about retreats, about property ownership, and about where exactly a man so well known might disappear when the cameras are off. What the FBI found in the holiday home, according to multiple insiders, the discovery that would put Jeremy Wade's rumored Texas retreat in the spotlight began with an ordinary maintenance job. Contractors working on a property on West Beltline Road in Richardson, said to belong to Jeremy Wade, reportedly stumbled upon a hidden compartment while renovating a section of the home. Behind a false wall, they allegedly found a locked safe. At first, the contractors assumed it contained valuables or documents of personal interest, but what was inside, according to sources, was far more unexpected and complex. The news caught up with the reporters just 5 minutes ago. Here's what the FBI found in Jeremy Wade's holiday home, and it's not good. Inside the safe, reports suggest, were financial ledgers, correspondence, and audio recordings. The documents supposedly included interactions with individuals claiming to have provided funds in exchange for confidential information related to the collection and movement of rare freshwater species from remote rivers around the world. These species, insiders say, included animals that fall under the protections of U.S. federal law, specifically the Lacey Act, which governs trafficking in endangered or protected species. While Jeremy Wade is known for his scientific and conservation work, the materials reportedly hinted at financial and logistical arrangements that might have crossed legal boundaries. The FBI allegedly became aware of the discovery because federal law enforcement has jurisdiction over wildlife trafficking and related financial crimes. According to sources familiar with the investigation, agents viewed the ledgers and correspondence as potential evidence of violations that could involve multiple jurisdictions. Shell companies, international wire transfers, and coded communications referenced in the documents reportedly raised questions about possible money laundering or other financial irregularities connected to endangered species trade. The agency's interest, insiders suggest, was not because of Jeremy Wade personally, but because of the nature of the materials and their possible implications under federal law. Further details from these insiders indicate that emails found on hard drives stored in the safe included correspondence about the export of specimens. Some messages reportedly referenced shipments declared for research purposes entering the United States through Texas customs. The content suggested that someone close to Wade was facilitating the paperwork, though it was not clear whether the transactions themselves were legal or if misrepresentation had occurred. These emails, sources say, were a primary reason federal authorities were drawn to the property, even though there is no public record of a formal search warrant or charges. What makes the story particularly compelling is that the contents of the safe did not suggest criminal intent in the sense most people imagine. There was no evidence of direct harm to humans, no violent activity, and no allegation that Jeremy personally engaged in illegal acts. Rather, the intrigue arose from the intersection of global conservation, financial transactions, and complex U.S. legal codes. Experts in wildlife law speaking hypothetically, based on the descriptions of the materials, noted that even seemingly minor discrepancies in exporting or documenting protected species can trigger federal investigation, especially when funds and international communication are involved. As with any story circulating from anonymous sources, caution is necessary. There is no official confirmation from the FBI, and Jeremy Wade has not publicly acknowledged any connection to the Richardson property. Local property records do not list him as the owner, and there is no evidence that the agency conducted a publicized raid. Whether the FBI's interest reflects a genuine legal concern or simply the agency's cautious approach to unexplained materials, the reports suggest a level of scrutiny that would be unusual for a typical residential discovery. In the wake of the discovery at the property on West Beltline Road, Richardson, the story quickly captured the attention of fans, media, and wildlife enthusiasts. According to insiders, the revelation of a hidden safe containing financial ledgers, correspondence, and recordings triggered a cascade of reactions that ranged from cautious interest to outright concern. The focus of attention was not solely on Jeremy personally, but on the broader implications of the materials reportedly found inside the home. Legal experts familiar with wildlife and international trade laws note that even the suggestion of irregularities in handling protected species can provoke intense scrutiny, particularly when financial transactions and cross-border communications are involved. Publicly, Jeremy Wade has remained characteristically silent regarding the Richardson property. In statements shared through his representatives, he has reportedly denied ownership of the home, or has framed it as being under the name of a holding company or close associate, suggesting that any connection to the items discovered would be tangential at best. Insiders familiar with his operations emphasize that Jeremy's career has always been grounded in documented fieldwork and public-facing research, making it unlikely that he would intentionally involve himself in illegal activity. Nevertheless, the absence of clear explanations left room for speculation, feeding media coverage that ranged from sensational headlines to detailed analyses of wildlife law. Fans and followers of Wade expressed mixed reactions. On social media, the initial reports sparked widespread discussion. Some expressed concern that the discovery could damage his reputation, emphasizing that the credibility he built over decades through scientific investigation, conservation advocacy, and extreme angling was at stake. Others approached the reports with skepticism, noting that the property's ownership had never been officially confirmed and that insider reports are notoriously unreliable. According to sources familiar with media responses, the balance between sensationalism and careful reporting became a point of internal debate at several news outlets. Major networks reportedly chose to emphasize the legal and environmental aspects of the story rather than imply direct wrongdoing by Jeremy. From the perspective of conservation and wildlife law communities, the discovery ignited a broader conversation about the complexities of international research, specimen export, and the responsibilities of high-profile naturalists. Experts noted that the United States enforces strict regulations under the Lacey Act, which governs the import and export of endangered species, and that even well-intentioned researchers can inadvertently trigger legal scrutiny if documentation is incomplete or misrepresented. Insiders suggest that the FBI's interest, as reported, stemmed from concern over financial arrangements tied to species collection and shipment, rather than any allegation of violent or harmful behavior. In other words, the case highlighted the intersection of legality, ethics, and scientific curiosity, illustrating that even celebrated explorers must navigate a labyrinth of rules when their work crosses international borders. Locally in Richardson, Texas, the story prompted curiosity from neighbors and community members, many of whom had never interacted with the supposed property owners. While contractors were initially the ones to uncover the safe, reports suggest that local authorities were quietly consulted to ensure no immediate public safety concerns. Neighbors described the home as unremarkable, blending seamlessly into the suburban environment, which only amplified the sense of mystery. In private discussions, real estate and legal professionals in the area commented that properties with hidden compartments, corporate ownership structures, or otherwise obscured records are not uncommon in affluent neighborhoods, though they rarely intersect with federal investigations in such dramatic ways. Legally, the implications remain hypothetical, but noteworthy. According to insiders familiar with federal procedure, the presence of ledgers, correspondence, and digital communications indicating cross-border transfers of rare species could prompt a formal inquiry. Such an inquiry might include subpoenas, forensic analysis of electronic records, and interviews with individuals associated with the property. At the same time, experts stress that the burden of proof rests on clear evidence. Whispers or unverified contractor accounts alone would not constitute a case. The FBI or any regulatory agency would need documented violations of law before taking further action. The situation, insiders say, reflects the cautious approach that agencies adopt when high-profile figures and sensitive environmental laws intersect. Beyond the immediate legal and media consequences, the episode raises questions about privacy, celebrity, and public perception. Jeremy Wade's life has always straddled the line between public fascination and personal discretion. His work in remote rivers and dangerous locations places him in scenarios most people cannot imagine, yet his public persona has been built on methodical research and evidence-based conclusions. The notion of a hidden safe in a quiet Texas suburb containing information that could attract federal attention is emblematic of the tension between myth and reality that has characterized his career. It demonstrates how public figures in the scientific and adventure world can become the subject of intrigue even when there is no proven wrongdoing. Looking ahead, insiders suggest that the story is unlikely to conclude quickly. Investigations of this type, when they involve multiple jurisdictions, complex international transactions, and sensitive environmental regulations, can take months or even years to resolve. The next steps, according to sources, could include verification of property ownership, examination of the ledgers, and interviews with individuals listed in correspondence or audio recordings. Meanwhile, the court of public opinion continues to weigh in, with debates online and in news forums balancing respect for his scientific contributions against curiosity about the materials found. So, in the end, what do you think about what was found inside this home? Let us know in the comments.